One former FSU quarterback star is very excited about the new addition of Thomas Castellanos coming from Boston College, transferring to the Florida State Seminoles. As we know, Castellanos came for a visit, didn't take too long for Florida State to land him, and eventually signing with Florida State. Now begins the question of what is this going to look like moving forward? And also, two, what does it look like in the locker room after some question marks with him not playing for the remainder of the 2024 season up there in Boston? Let's jump into it and dive deeper. EJ Manuel recently talking on ESPN, giving his thoughts about the landing of Castellanos with the Seminoles, saying it's a perfect fit for Florida State. As we know, Castellanos, dual threat quarterback, something that when you think about Florida State, you think of Jordan Travis now. Definitely under Mike Norvell and what that offense looked like and being a dual threat quarterback. We saw also, too, Jordan Travis develop as a passer, too, during his tenure as it continued to go year by year. But as we know, those legs, utilizing those are something that just made Jordan Travis special, being one of the biggest playmakers in college football during his time. But going to Castellanos and his stats throughout his time at Florida State, he became the first player in Boston College history to surpass 2,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards in a single season. That was in 2023. And also, too, he had 189 completions on 330 attempts for 2,248 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. And he rushed for 215 times for 1,113 yards and 13 touchdowns. Go back to that game in 2023. Thomas Castellanos was ripping through Florida State's defense and was a problem. He was a monster. EJ Manuel talking about this landing, saying, I like this move. I think this is a perfect fit for Thomas Castellanos, just like it is for Florida State. Thomas Castellanos, 5'10", 196 pounds, definitely proved that he can compete at a very high level and was a standout in that game in 2023. And of course, too, in this last season where Florida State faced him at home night game and beat Florida State. And two, if you think about it, in that game this last year, Thomas Castellanos with Bill O'Brien, the new head coach up there in Boston, came in and kind of wanted him to be more of a pro-style quarterback. And that's just not the way that Castellanos plays as a QB. He likes to roll out of the pocket. He likes to move with his legs. He likes to run as well, as we do know, going back to his days in 2023. And things just weren't clicking there with Bill O'Brien. But I will be honest with you, we didn't really see Castellanos have to utilize his legs until the latter half of that game. And that's where Florida State had problems with him. And, you know, to me, that game wouldn't have been too close if Castellanos starting the first quarter was utilizing his legs more, and Bill O'Brien would have built a game plan better with what he had there at quarterback. But he does bring that similar skill set that you had with Jordan Travis, something that I don't think you currently have there. You know, Brock Glenn, I would say, to me, over Luke Kromenhoek, who, you know, just entered the transfer portal. I think Brock Glenn has more of that natural running ability, to where, you know, to me, Luke Kromenhoek was more of your pocket passer guy. And, you know, he wants to get into the league, all this kind of stuff, yada, yada, yada. But Brock Glenn, I would say, maybe fits that fold. I know there's a lot of names of Trevor Jackson. You know, he's not on scholarship or such. But to me, Castellanos definitely fills that void where you lost that when you lost Jordan Travis, now over there with the New York Jets. EJ Manuel doing some more comments here on the addition of Castellanos, saying this is a huge opportunity for Castellanos to, one, earn the respect of his teammates. And he's already gotten that, because when BC came into Tallahassee, they whooped them. They handled a business. So you know what kind of product he's bringing, the experience that he's had at Boston College. And he's saying, you know, EJ Manuel went on to talk about how he can extend plays with both his arm and his legs. Some more comments, you know, Bill O'Brien, like I was mentioning there, wanted to run it more of a quarterback pro style kind of offense at Boston College, and it doesn't fit him. And EJ Manuel talking about that, and, you know, maybe there were some differences there between Castellanos and Bill O'Brien on that, is why we did not see Castellanos finish that season and did not play for the Eagles. Two ties here with Gus Malzahn and Castellanos, actually Gus Malzahn recruited him as a quarterback going all the way during his early days at UCF too as well. But EJ Manuel talking about the reunion, saying, "I'm glad he's there at Florida State. I'm going to support him, and I think he's going to be maybe the jetpack that this offense needed as far as throwing the ball and certainly running the ball in that style that Gus Malzahn is going to bring to Florida State." He's going to talk here also too about not playing for the remainder of that 2024 season, saying, "I still wish he would have finished the season with his Boston College team just because being a good teammate is really important. But we are in a different era now." He said, "Great days are ahead. This kid can help turn things around for Florida State University." Just recapping this, coming from EJ Manuel, who's doing a phenomenal job as being a host there on ESPN. He's absolutely killing it with the ACC network as well. I think he's carrying this, carrying the ACC network. But to me, this is all about we find out how things are looking in the spring and the fall. What is Thomas Castellanos? Do we see? We heard things all about practices and things are looking great. And DJU's getting the ball down the field. He's got an arm. There's some explosive play. There goes Malik Benson. Yada yada yada. And I think it's going to be hard for FSU fans that are listening right now to this episode of we won't really believe anything until Florida State has its first drive against the Crimson Tide when Alabama comes into town to kick off that 2025 season. But you are going to see some signs of some things, I think, too, when we start getting the feel of what Florida State wants to do, running the ball and, adding Castellanos in there. That is another RB1 back there with what you already have in the running back room. And you want to get the ball down the field. Florida State doing a big job now in the transfer portal, bringing in some wide receivers, bringing in some tight ends too. There's a lot of targets that Florida State is hoping to land here before the end of December. And two, you got to build an offensive line. Not a lot of things can happen for a quarterback unless you build a solid offensive line unit. And you're hoping with Herb Hand coming from UCF and the ties, of course, relationship there with Gus Malzahn, that's the case. You could start to find a rhythm again. I mean, that's like where you just need to start, find rhythm again on offense, because Florida State, it was a disaster of a unit on the offensive side. It was brutal. It was disgusting. It was awful to watch. It was awful to talk about. It was awful to cover, right? Everything. I mean, and for fans to watch it, I mean, major props to everybody that were in the stands watching it, because you didn't know if you were going to see a touchdown or not on Saturday afternoon. So Thomas Castellanos, to me, he's a playmaker. He can get you down the field with his legs, which is something that Florida State needs offensively. And just the state of college football now, it gives you an extra edge in what you prepare for offensively. And, defensive coordinators got to prepare for that. And EJ Manuel really likes this new addition for Florida State moving forward. So if you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe too, so you get notified every time we release a new episode on here. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about Thomas Castellanos. We've had some time now. The dust has fallen. We're relaxed. What do you think about Thomas Castellanos being at Florida State? Thanks for watching.